the one sitting in that chair.
This is a sofa. Thanks for joining us for this video breakdown of The Lion King. Even though I know you read the title of the video and therefore expected it to be about the Invisible Man, you're definitely crazy and it's about The Lion King. Honestly, it's kind of pathetic that you can't even trust your own eyes. But don't worry, I'm here and I'm seeing things clearly, so I'll get us through this. What's that? Your friends read the title of the video too and they think it's about the Invisible Man? They're liars. You can only trust me. Has this ever happened to you?
No. Never.
Well, it's happened to me. A lot. It's called gaslighting, and it's a form of emotional abuse where someone has you questioning your own sanity.
I'm not crazy!
Joke's on them. I was never sane to begin with. Fun fact, before 1944, there was no single word to describe this type of behavior. The term gaslighting stems from a movie called Gaslight, in which the protagonist gaslights his wife.
But he said there wasn't any letter. He said I was going out of my mind.
Not going out of your mind. You're slowly and systematically being driven out of your mind.
Why?
And although that movie probably would have been a better choice when discussing a topic like gaslighting, I don't like to watch old movies. Truthfully, I wouldn't even be talking about gaslighting if I didn't recently watch The Invisible Man. How about that for a segue? The movie is basically one large allegory for breaking from that kind of emotional abuse.
Adrian?
The movie opens as our protagonist tries to escape her abusive boyfriend, Adrian. We're treated to a few hints that he's some kind of super genius, but he's also reclusive and controlling. There's cameras set up everywhere, and some kind of super secret evil lair in his basement. Psychologists have pointed out various telltale signs of gaslighting, and this movie hits all the key points. Firstly, isolation. Abusers that gaslight will often try to isolate us from our friends and family. They find our closest allies, bring them to their side, and convince them that we're crazy. After her escape, Cecilia moves in with her close friends and has a pretty sturdy support system. Adrian sows doubt by remaining unseen and strategically messing with only Cecilia. As her friends start to question her mental well-being, Adrian gets more and more hostile towards them. He violently strikes out when Cecilia is the only possible culprit, other than an invisible man, which, to be fair, is pretty hard for even the closest of friends to believe. He gets access to Cecilia's account and sends a pretty scathing email to her deeply supportive sister. Her sister then decides that she's no longer going to help Cecilia with her emotional needs. Keep in mind, at this point, Cecilia hasn't even proved to herself that Adrian is actually stalking her.
I'm scared.
You don't have to be scared of him anymore.
Another indicator of being gaslit is the inexplicable feeling of fright or that something is wrong. When we're being gaslit, we deny our own instincts and feelings about everything. Those feelings don't just disappear even if we've been convinced that they're irrational. The whole movie is a metaphor for this. Adrian convinces Cecilia to deny her own sense of sight. When subtle things start changing around her, or when she feels like she's being watched, she knows something is wrong. There's something undeniably horrifying about not being able to see a predator. It's that feeling of being watched when nothing's around. Like when you're trying to sleep at night and there's a pile of clothes that look like the boogeyman. Sorry. Coronavirus. Only here, the problem is real. It's Adrian, that relationship. He's there, ever present, haunting her like a ghost. It's worth pointing out how neurotic Cecilia becomes. There's some heavy-handed mental health dialogue in this movie, in case Elizabeth Moss's incredible facial acting didn't cue you in. At her lowest point, Cecilia doesn't even trust herself. She's eventually thrown into a mental institution, and at that point, no one, not even her friends, trust her. She's beside herself in her own instability. It's here that we're given our last indicator of gaslighting. We're probably being gaslit if we've become afraid of speaking up or expressing our feelings. The choice to remain silent is a direct result from the emotional abuse we unknowingly experienced. Leading up to her involuntary commitment, Cecilia finally gets through to her sister. As she tells her what's been going on with Adrian, Adrian punishes her violently. It was truly one of the most jaw-dropping moments of the movie, and I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Adrian shows Cecilia what happens when she tries to speak out or confide in her friends. While institutionalized, Cecilia learned her lesson. She remains quiet. Doctors, lawyers, policemen, and even her friend can't get her to say more than a few words. I'm always amazed at film's ability to capture base human emotions and experiences. We wouldn't even have a word for gaslighting if it weren't for movies. And watching The Invisible Man was oddly reminiscent and therapeutic. It shows us that sometimes nefarious forces will pit the whole world against us. The only defense we have against gaslighting is self-esteem and confidence in our own tried and tested worldview. But did you see it? What did you think? How crazy would it be if you never went to see it and none of what I just said was true? Would you accept my reality as your own? See you next week. Stay creative.
Someone sitting in that chair.